Howdy folks. Today I'm going to make a classic tiki ingredient, passion fruit syrup, but I don't think I want a rum drink. I'm going to look for some recipes that uses passion fruit syrup that aren't, rum tiki drinks. But first, let's make the syrup. So these are passion fruits. When I bought these at the store, they were kind of smooth-skinned, but when they ripen up, they'll be this kind of wrinkly outside, and that's what you're looking for. Anyway, you'll want a knife and a spoon, and here's what they look like a little closer up. Just cut them in half, and the inside will be this sort of green and orange thing with a lot of seeds, and the texture is weird. It's kind of a snot texture, but it smells amazing. So you just take your spoon and scoop all the snot into a pan. Put the pan onto the stove. Just put it on like a low heat. You don't need to be boiling this at all. I add about a 1/4 cup of sugar. I don't like to add a ton of sugar. I like it to be kind of tart. That's the nice thing about passion fruit, is tart. About a 1/4 cup of water just to thin out the snot and help dissolve the sugar. And then I'll just let it simmer there for a few minutes. Make sure everything is incorporated. Let it cool first and then strain it. I tried straining it with this other strainer. That didn't work. So I just went ahead back to my usual straining bag. And then there you go. I don't usually make a ton of this because I don't have a ton of use for it. Now, whenever I have an ingredient that I'm not sure what to do with, I will first look on Cocktail Virgin. It is a website run by a guy named Frederick Yarm, and he basically posts a cocktail every day, and a lot of them are really good. Classics or things from old books or things he's drank around Boston where he lives. Now, I found two that look promising. One is called Boothonia. It's called that because it calls for Booth's Gin, which I don't have, obviously. But it's an old drink from the Cafe Royal cocktail book, apparently. You can read all this on the blog. 1 ounce and 1/4 of gin. 1 ounce and 1/4 of dry vermouth. 1/4 ounce Amère-Picon. 1/4 ounce passion fruit syrup, and 1/4 ounce of lemon. Now, just a quick word about Amère-Picon. Amère-Picon is a French bitter liqueur and a Amaro, basically. In French, it's called Amère-Picon. And it was a popular ingredient pre-Prohibition, so it shows up in old cocktail books a lot. They don't import it into America anymore, and apparently they changed the recipe somewhere along the way. Now, cocktail nerds will have various substitutions that you can have for that. Some people make their own, and I'll probably do that later in the winter. I've done it before, and it's fun, and I'll show you guys that another time. But for this drink, we're going to substitute a different French orange-forward bitter liqueur, Bigelet China. It should be a pretty good substitute. I've used it before, and it's delicious. The second drink we're going to try out is called Port Light. It's a tiki drink invented in the 60s and also published by Beach Bum Berry, so it's sort of a classic tiki drink at this point, I guess. And it's one of the only tiki drinks that doesn't use rum. It's a bourbon-based drink. 2 ounces of bourbon, and 1/2 ounce of grenadine. 1/2 ounce passion fruit syrup, 1 ounce of lemon juice. Now, this is the recipe that Frederick put on the website, but apparently it is slightly different than the classic recipe, which would use more passion fruit syrup and less grenadine. But since my passion fruit syrup is very tart, and I like things a little sweeter, I'm going to go ahead and stick with his build. Let's go. Let's try them out. Okay, we did it. We made them. Now, I'm going to start with with this Boothonia. This is sounding a little weird to me. So this will be like it's like a martini with fruit juice, a little lemon, passion fruit of course, and this Amaro substitute, which is like an orange flavored Amaro. Okay, so we're gonna give it a try. Well, that's a little weird. It tastes a lot like a martini, obviously. The passion fruit, lemon, and china are sort of combining to almost taste like orange juice. So it almost tastes like gin and orange juice, which is yikes. Now this also weirdly is supposed to be garnished with a cocktail onion. I don't have that, but I put a drop of saline in to sort of mimic that. I mean, that's growing on me actually. It's a little bitter. It's a little bitter. It's not as sour as I would have thought with the passion fruit, and it has an orangeness to it, which is a little off-putting. I think this is the kind of drink where if I could make a bunch of them, I could tweak the different elements. I could maybe turn up or down the sweetness, maybe try different gins, different vermouths, and sort of dial them to be the perfect version. I think that would be a good drink. Sort of reminds me in a way of the Blood and Sand, which is another kind of weird drink that if you use the wrong scotch in that, it's just terrible. But if you get it just right, it's amazing. So it's a bit like that. All right, drink two. I mean, tropical fun, right? Jeez Louise. Okay, let's give this a try. Yeah, this is much more to my liking. It's a whiskey sour, essentially, but that sour passion fruit comes in at the end after you get the initial bourbon hit and a tartness from the lemon. I like the balance. It's sweet enough. It seems tropical. It's tropical. It's a tropical drink. Okay, this one is delicious out of the box. I'm gonna make this one again. I think my wife will really like this one too, actually. Passion fruit is a strange flavor. It's hard to understand what it tastes like. It tastes a bit like, it's like an orange and a peach got together somehow, but tart and sour. Like a sour peach. I don't know. Passion fruit syrup. It's fun to make. There's not a ton of things to do with it, but if you have some ingredient, a good place to start actually is a whiskey sour. Make a whiskey sour, add this ingredient to your whiskey sour. If it's a sweet ingredient, cut down the sugar. If it's a tart ingredient, cut down the lemon. And you can make a million delicious drinks just by swapping things into whiskey sours. When it comes to martinis, I'm going to say it's a little more difficult to just add things to your martini. This, for example, tastes a bit weird to me. But thanks for coming on this adventure with me. If you like this sort of video, why don't you go ahead and subscribe? That would help me out. Like and leave a comment. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Until the next video, we'll see you.